Hello, my fellow music lovers. I'm Allison Hagendorf, and welcome to the show. This is where we celebrate the universal love of music and the rock and roll spirit that lives in each of us. My guests today are rock star royalty Perry and ETTY FARRELL. Perry Farrell is the frontman of the iconic alternative rock bands Jane's Addiction and Porno for Pyros, and is the creator and founder of Lollapalooza. Besides being Perry's wife and partner in crime, ETTY has been an integral part of the Jane's Addiction show since 1997. She is truly the first lady of Lolla, and of course, ETTY is Perry's muse. We talk all about how Taylor Hawkins, who was a massive Jane's Addiction fan, played a key role in getting Avery back in the band, new Jane's music on the horizon, the life lessons Perry teaches his sons, the secret to the longevity of his rock stardom, and how Perry and ETTY continue to inspire each other after all these years. And stay tuned after the interview for my sound advice. New music you need to know. It all starts now. Well, I just want to say that I am honored to be sitting here with one of my favorite couples. And I talk about you guys actually all the time as a couple. I am grateful for your friendship, your inspiration, and your love. Because your love, and I've told you this, is a gift for everyone who is fortunate to be a friend of yours in your presence. And I was always a fan of your music, and then I began interviewing you both at Satellite Party and Lollapalooza.
That's right.
And then we became friends.
Right.
And I have a million pictures, but I started, it's one of our Lollapalooza memories. But it evolved into friendship and attending each other's family milestones. And having you guys at our wedding was just like one of the most wonderful. You lifting Brian up in the chair. I mean, it was like so grateful. And I learned through the years that your relationship is special. Yeah. Your generosity is special. And I just love being with you. So it was important for me that we all sat down together today.
Too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do remember the first time we connected. I think we're in the studio for one of the, I want to say Spike, or it's not. It's
Was it Fuse?
Fuse.
Yes.
And I remember we were doing Satellite Party. That was when we were with Columbia.
Yes.
And we were looking for places to eat. And you said, I have a list. And I remember a friend of ours invited to market. I said, do you want to maybe come? And we bonded with our share of love of food. Yes.
You and I had a great time at that dinner.
Yes,
and we were like,
did.
oh, we love to drink and eat and celebrate and indulge. And it was like love at first sight
and
connected.
that was, 15 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild. I watch everything you guys are doing, which is nonstop. I don't understand, when you guys sleep. And now we are gearing up for Lollapalooza, Chicago.
Yeah.
Now that Lollapalooza has been going on for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And now is it 8 countries?
I think 7 going on. Oh, wow. I have to count. Yes, it's 8 because we added
India is 8.
That's right. That's right. We have 3 European, 3 South American, India, and American. Yep.
I mean, I follow along, as you can tell, very closely.
But you got to come with us to
I know.
India.
I mean, that'd be a dream.
Yeah.
Or any
would
of the
be a
countries.
dream.
South America, I think we would do well there. I mean, the food.
Oh, yes.
I eat my way through
Everywhere
South
food
Everywhere
America.
you
alone.
go, the food's great. Come on.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true. I mean, how do you feel knowing this festival has gone on for so long and it's flourishing and expanding and each year is getting bigger? I mean, how does that make you feel? Like, what does that mean to you?
It means the world to us. We really, Lollapalooza is such an important part of our life because we feel it's such an important part for the world, really. It's that universal language that we all get to communicate with each other. And that's how important it is to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the most special festivals because it's a symbol of inclusivity.
Right.
And it's always been. It's always been about that and art and connection and music and really just celebration. And you really feel that. And I feel like the two of you are like the heart and soul of it. And it's a special reunion each year of friends and making new friends. And it's as you know, it's one of my favorite things.
It's funny. Thank you. It's funny that this year the Chili Peppers are playing, and I just texted Flea. I saw him on the game. He sits right off the court for the Lakers.
Yeah.
So just thinking about him, and I was just thinking, I'm going to see him again this summer. So I texted him. I go, man, you got a cool hat, man. You're rocking a cool hat. And so he's like, oh, yeah, Perry, I love you, man. I'm going to see you soon. So it is like that. It really is.
It's like a family reunion.
Music family.
Yeah,
really
it is.
And then you get to, at the same time, explore different cultures as we go into different countries, you know?
Of course.
I like that part a lot, too.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, the more people we meet, the more we just fall in love with people.
Yeah.
People in India were so amazing.
Most people.
Most people,
yeah.
but that's the law of averages anyways, right?
Yeah.
It's
I
most
guess so.
people.
It's most people.
Most people, they're all right, you know?
Yeah, that's right. I read somewhere, I didn't realize this, that in 2001, I believe it was, Jane's Addiction did a reunion at Coachella.
Mhm.
And that sort of like sparked the tradition of a band reuniting each year. I feel like you were the first, that was the first reunion.
Yeah, that was really the brainchild of Rick Van Satten and Paul Tillett. But, you know, did you know Rick Van Satten?
No, I know who he is.
Right.
I know him, but I don't.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't know. I want to say it was genius, but it was a little bit of desperation because they didn't really have that marquee name.
Right.
And Rick and I were very tight. Rick as a matter of fact, took me to my first Laker games.
Oh, really?
Back when Kareem was playing with Magic.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but I mean,
Forum.
I first met him when we were all living at the Wilton house. So we were not even signed yet. And here comes this kid and he's not wearing shoes, but he's got socks on. That was his thing.
Yeah.
And then we just became tight. We started getting booked Golden Voice gigs. Where am I going with all this?
I'm not sure. Something about reunion of
Yeah.
Coachella?
So they got that property out there. And as a matter of fact, I was having Rick and Golden Voice book the second stage at Lala. Once I got Lala, I always had Golden Voice to do any of the shows that were in LA. I would say, I don't care. I want Golden Voice to do our shows. So that was Jane's Addiction.
Yeah.
And they'd always find us really interesting places. So they were in a bind. And then Rick said, you know, would you the band back together for this show? And then I said, you know, sure, Rick. And he goes, and can I borrow $10,000?
That's amazing.
Which I gave him that too.
It's incredible. I recently saw you on the Spirits on Fire tour with Smashing Pumpkins
at the Hollywood Bowl. Thank you for coming. Hollywood Bowl is so difficult to get to. I know. I get it.
Believe me,
But
you guys
thank
are
you for
worth it.
coming.
There was such an incredible night. Eric Avery back in the band. I mean, how does that feel to have Eric back? It's special.
Yeah. No, it feels like the word I was thinking is solid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Eric is just...
He just cannot be duplicated, honestly. You know, I've been with the band since 97. And I think there was only one tour, the Ninja tour, when they did 9 Inch Nails, Jane's Addiction Ninja, right? Clever, right?
Yeah.
And I do remember he did the tour, but he wasn't as committed and passionate about it. But this time he really wanted to come back. And I wanted to really make sure that to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
Taylor Hawkins is completely 100%, well, majority responsible for bringing the two of them back together.
Oh.
You know, once when we were touring, we were talking about it, and Eric said, you know, that at the very beginning when they started communicating, because, you know, you can't put aside 20-some years of difference and jump right in. There'll be some preliminary conversations. Eric would say that he would have Taylor on the other line. And then he would say, Perry just said this to me. What should I say back to him?
Wow.
So Taylor in the background was talking to Perry about having Eric back in the fold. At the same time, have Eric talking to Eric about coming back in the fold for a good 2 years.
He was the mediator.
He was the mediator.
But he didn't tell me that. All he would say is, just have the guy write you some grooves, man. Just, have him sing your grooves on. It's not that simple, Taylor, But Taylor wanted so badly to see Jane's whole.
That was he is the biggest Jane's fan.
He really,
exactly.
That was his, I think his COVID mission.
Mm-hmm.
His whole COVID was staying at home with his kids, which was very wonderful. I'm glad that he had that time with his kids, right?
Yeah.
But his whole mission during COVID was to bring the band back. Yeah.
Oh.
So I think we dedicated the show at the Hollywood Bowl show.
Yeah.
And when we were in Brazil, we happened to play the last show in Brazil. We did a thing for Taylor as well, because I think it was around the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, we continue to do things for Taylor.
Yeah. He's always with us.
Really
always.
good to have Eric back. And I just cannot believe that we went without him for so long. You saw a complete marked difference. He just brought this energy. I mean, he is...
What's interesting is that
really
after all that time, it's almost like somebody coming back into your life, let's say from high school.
Yeah.
It's almost like that, where there's not that many people around that knew what you went through. And then all of a sudden, here's this person that was going through it at the same time, experiencing it with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, it's almost like a beautiful gift.
Yeah. Oh, that's a wonderful way to think about it. I mean, you have this, it's almost like a familial connection. You guys went through it in the trenches together.
And then as you get older, people, like Etty said the other day, she goes, God, a lot of people are dying that I know.
Yeah.
And I said,
think we hit that
age. I go, what do you think about people that everybody that they know is dead, but they still keep living? That must be really a weird feeling, right?
Yes, but they're at an age where it's expected. I feel like, I mean, I know you're a little bit older, but for Allison and I feel like we're just now entering that part of our lives where people that we're friends with, not your aunt, not your elderly grandfather, but people that you grew up with, your peer, your same age group, are passing away, and it's a different way of processing,
right? But then imagine you're like lonely in your head, and then all of a sudden this guy shows up, and he was going through those stories with you.
Yeah.
You feel like, don't leave,
Yeah.
Don't leave.
I'm really glad that Eric came back.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. So the song True Love, I watched the video online that you teased at one of your shows.
Did you hear the song?
I only heard it from that record. I haven't heard the song.
That recording was awful.
Well, I was still excited.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's your first song in 10 years?
I know.
So I was so excited.
I want to give you, you know what? I can probably give you the better version because, of course, we're going to release.
But you get it before everyone else has that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll definitely give you
I appreciate
that material. I shouldn't have done it, but it was weird. We were up in Bakersfield, and I felt like these people in Bakersfield, they don't get decked out the way people in, let's say, New York City do or LA do, So I thought, we should give them a song that no one's ever heard before.
Yeah.
And that's what the impetus was behind singing that song. But I was terrible on it. And then the next thing I know, Rolling Stone, who never gives a shit about me, puts it up there.
Well, I think everyone was just so excited because it was the first new song in so long that we didn't care what quality it was or what city it was in. We just were excited to hear that there was going to be new music. So that's what's so exciting. Eric's back. I mean, this is the moment that we have all been waiting for ages. So we're just grateful for any of it,
Right. And we do have Josh Klinghoffer.
Oh, Josh is amazing. We need to give Josh a round of applause.
He really is a good man.
He's a star. He is incredible. He's a gift.
He is a gift. Yes.
I look at him like that too.
He's like not even like human.
He's
like
candy
in performance.
music.
No, he's not. And even his musical knowledge. I mean, he would say, when they're talking about playing a song, right? Oh, we're going to do a mountain song, maybe a different version, a different feel. He would say, would you like for me to play it 88 at the Scream or 91 live in Japan?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
His references.
What version would you like?
He just is that in love and invested in music, but not just with James. His spectrum of musical knowledge.
Yeah.
It's wide.
I mean, think about how many great bands he has played with.
Yeah.
I mean, most people can't do that. Also, he performs. He's a performer.
Yes.
He performs with his whole body.
Being.
I know.
He's nimble. I mean, he is so nimble.
Which is why, when we went after the Hollywood Bowl show, we brought Josh in for South America and Australia. It was so great to see because you have Perry and Steven, right? But then you also have Eric and Josh on either side. Every person on that.
And then you've got ETTY
and the
and the ladies.
Let's talk about this because I need everyone to understand that you have played pretty much every Jane show since 1997.
Except for the Ninja Tour.
Yep. Right. You are you the creative director? What would you call yourself of the choreography?
I would say that I am not the choreographer. I always bring a choreographer in because they're more knowledgeable and it gives me less responsibility because I do have other responsibilities, taking care of him, and the boys and different little things that may fall through the crack. But I enjoy doing it. And I do feel that I bring an element, I bridge the gap between the dancers and the band.
Yes.
So when we perform together, there's not a separation. Because sometimes the band's playing, the dancers are behind them doing whatever. But because we are familiar with each other, so the dancers can be more familiar with the band as well. So we're performing together.
It's more of an overall experience.
Exactly.
It's more of a performance art experience.
Exactly.
Music, dance.
And balance.
Yes, it's beautiful.
The sexes are balanced. And that's so important for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Our sound is that way. Mm-hmm. So our show has to be that way too. And it's unique as well because most rock is kind of leans heavy on the guys, on the cock rock, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. And when you have a show, like in a festival, even a show with like 4 or 5 bands, when you always see men in black, and sometimes they're not looking as well as from when they were in their prime, and you bring hot young girls out.
Yes. It's a beautiful show.
It changes the landscape, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, certainly for the guys in the audience.
Yes.
And then,
I love just watching everyone.
Yeah.
I need to ask you, though, because the show is so physical. I mean, you're literally dancing.
Yes.
You are, too. How do you stay so fit and youthful and you guys are nimble.
Well, because you're very athletic yourself. I see videos of you.
Yeah.
Wait, what are those things? Not pull-ups, chin-ups?
Yeah, these are pull-ups.
These are
pull-ups.
These are chin-ups, right?
Yes.
You kill it. I can't even hold myself.
I know we discussed, she goes, she could probably beat you in the chin-up. And I go, she can beat you too. Right out of having a baby. It's incredible.
Thank you.
I feel like as we get older, it is a 24-hour job.
Yeah.
To prepare back in the day when you go for like a show, 2-hour show, the rest of the day you can kind of dilly-dally around. But I feel like, especially for Perry, because he's not only singing and physically exerting so much energy, from the moment he gets up, it's focus on his body, working out, stretching, yoga, warming up to prep for the show. And once the show is done, he would spend 2-3 hours decompressing, stretching. What's that thing that you use? Like the
gun, the vibration, the Theragun.
Yes, but I think there's better ones out there now. I wouldn't even say it's a Theragun because I've got a new model that the Palladium gave to me. Oh, they're very kind, and they gave me an infrared blanket.
Oh wow!
And this massage gun.
It's like a massage gun, right?
And then
there's like a bunch of different attachments.
A TENS machine, a TENS.
Oh, a TENS machine. Yeah. Yes.
So
it's an all-day thing for him.
Yeah, it's like stim. It's like different types of stim. Yeah.
You might think that, wow, you're dedicated. No, if I don't do it, I'm in total pain.
You can get hurt, and you can hurt yourself.
And I can get hurt, and I couldn't go to sleep.
Right.
So sometimes I'm up until,
like
5.
2, 3, 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
And which is going back to why I chose not to be the artistic director or be the choreographer, because I feel rather than worrying about a lot of the shows, my job is to make sure he's fed, he's going to sleep at a certain hour, that he doesn't have to worry
who worries about you?
I worry about myself.
I worry about you too.
A little bit. Yes, but I am not the one that everyone is riding on. If I fall off the stage and don't do a show, it's not going to be as impactful. So you are our
golden goose.
Yeah, we're horses. You be the one that we are.
That's what she always says.
Loving.
Yes, she does that. She's not constantly, but she often refers to me as the winning horse.
Oh.
So we need to focus, like little ancillary things you don't need to worry about. What time do you have to get to the airport and this and that? You need to get up at this time and you're leaving at this time.
Let me tell you what ETTY will do. She not only does all that and dances, she will make almond milk.
You make your own almond milk?
I fully brought almond milk makers on tour.
That's hardcore.
You're some of the things that you'll do.
So I felt that
like that nobody
you had me make your own almond milk.
These are
not
good
that
conversations.
But see, you have to understand, right? I feel that with almond milk, even the best of the best,
or cashew milk,
always have that packaged
they
taste
do,
to it, right?
Well, they have a lot of preservatives and
to make
stuff,
that
to keep
exactly. Right, because they do go bad very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I would soak my almonds overnight, and I'll have an almond milk maker.
Yeah.
And I
in the
carry
hotel room.
That's impressive.
There's I wake up at night, I'm thirsty and I go to drink something. I'm, what the?
With maple syrup because it's an
almonds,
anti-inflammatory.
It looks like, what is that?
And because you have to understand, Perry also, it's not great at remembering to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes he may not even be hungry. And I get it. Sometimes when you're in pain, the last thing you want to do is...
Or adrenaline's running.
Adrenaline, yeah.
But if I can get some nutrients in him via an almond milk, the protein, the good fat, with maple syrup and anti-inflammatory, at least he's getting some sustenance.
It's true. It's true. It's important. Then you're going to be running on fumes.
Exactly.
And that'll be counterproductive.
And the other thing that's really good on tour is also I would use the almond milk and soak chia seeds. And then do fruit. And the next morning,
delicious.
If you can't eat it, you can just drink the glass of chia seeds.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God for ETTY.
And then she's doing all that, right? But what she won't even mention is that she starts to work out at around 11:30 after she's cooked dinner for the whole family.
Oh, really?
She loves to cook.
I don't
It's not like I'm
to cook.
Just because I do cook doesn't necessarily mean I love to cook.
No, every night she's like, we're having beef stew tonight.
Well, because it's guilt.
I don't sit there and go, I want beef stew.
Well, it's guilt. Number one, when we traveled a lot, the kids ate out a lot. And I remember my son, Hesron, said, Mommy, your cooking sucks.
Thanks,
Says
Hesron.
who? Says your food. And he was 11 at the time. And when we go away on tour, they order in a lot. And I want them to have
home cooked meals
I'm
in our
home,
of course.
You know?
I understand.
But you don't find a joy. I mean, every time I come into the kitchen, she's got some forensic show on this
of course.
iPad.
Another thing that connects us.
Yes.
Obsessed.
And
obsessed.
She's
There's
doing
a few good
some
ones
new
out there
recipes.
we need to talk. Yeah.
And then the recipes that you're getting off online.
Yes.
And then the success of, how is it? Do you like it?
And
this is so good.
And speaking of baking, I discovered malt, barley malt, which is a natural sweetener.
Yes.
So I've been making barley malt peanut butter cookies.
Oh, that's yummy.
Yes.
I need that recipe. I need that, please.
It's easy.
Crunchy.
Easy.
Yeah.
I should have brought some.
Dinner.
I just baked some last night.
And good with tea.
I wasn't sure if you ate sugar.
I
do. You eat sugar?
Oh, yeah, I eat everything.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Still,
I eat
not
everything.
sugary, are they?
they're not that sugary.
Right.
But you know how sometimes as a nursing mom.
I'm not nursing anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, but I'm like eating everything I want.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know if I can go back to restriction again. I
It's
feel like
hard,
it's
right?
a new life. It's a new life. Doing the best I can. Take the pressure off.
Right.
Stay fit and conditioned, and like that's that.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now.
Moderation.
Yes.
Moderation.
Yeah.
As long as you
Enjoy
work
it
it
all.
off.
It's not a thing.
Yeah,
Just
don't
like,
overdo the meat because it's not great for the environment.
right.
Maybe once a week you can have red.
Mm-hmm.
Do you overdo the sugar though? I love sugar.
Well, I love it, but I feel like if I always allow myself to have it, not think about it, it's not a big deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not a thing to me anymore.
Because you're not focusing on it, right?
I just have whatever I want, and it's not a big deal. I have to tell you, after doing every diet throughout my life, every kind of thing, I actually feel like I have the healthiest relationship with food now that I ever have.
Good for you.
And it's because I just don't make a thing of it.
Right.
It's like, just listen to your body. I
Yep.
enjoy. I do things in moderation, like you said. And it's just like, I'm enjoying. We have this
Good.
one life. If I want the cookie, I want the bread, I want the wine. Actually, I want all of them.
Yes.
Great.
Right. In one meal.
Enjoy.
In one meal.
Enjoy.
Yes.
I mean, Betty White's my hero. And she always would say, she always would have her martinis or her vodka drinks till she was
Really?
99. She's like, you live once, and look at her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, she always indulged, always let herself have whatever she wants. I'm like, that's my girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever Betty White does, I will
Yep.
aspire to do.
Yeah. So she
Yeah.
lived a long, very happy life.
Happy life.
Happy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's so great that you guys are working on new music, because I was thinking about this year, you have a lot of anniversaries.
Yes.
Nothing shocking. 35 years.
Wow.
Porno for Pyros, 30 years. And Strays, 20 years. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my God. Really?
Isn't that, I know that got me. That one got me. That
You're
Strays is
right.
20 years.
You're right. Oh my God. That was a great record.
Great.
That
Just
was a really
because
good
it's
record.
one of my favorite Jane songs, I mean, of all time.
I love The Riches.
Oh,
That was
another
that
great,
was
it's a
a
great
good one.
album.
I like the end of it. That was a great. Perry's always said that was that under the radar album that, I think what it was that, if you don't mind, I feel that Jane's was always such a dark, heavy band.
Mhm.
And that was written right after we had our first child. And there was but a celebration and light. And it's a bit of a bit of a takeaway from what people are used to listening. So that was kind of like an undiscovered
Yeah.
gem. I think you like that record too, right?
Well, yeah. No, I think you're right about that. So we were coming into our own. So we weren't so dark and under the ground anymore. But there were a lot of things going on simultaneously at that time that were kind of detracting members
Right.
from concentrating. And
Yeah.
that's really what went wrong.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough.
But you know what? You plow through it. And then guess what? We have another chance.
It's so great. Are you going
Yeah.
to do anything to sort of honor these anniversaries? Any plans?
I mean, there's so many good things going on ahead of us.
Yes.
You can throw the number up. We're doing a Porno for Pyros 30th anniversary tour. That's coming up
That's amazing.
Yep.
with new music.
Mm.
And then,
So new Jane's music and new Porno for Pyros
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
I
He's
mean,
been in the studio
incredible.
a lot.
and
Yeah.
new Heaven After Dark music.
Yep.
Kind of Heaven Orchestra music.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've
so
been
Etty and
working.
I have been working really hard with the great digital producers around the world, putting together Heaven After Dark series. We're going to have 12 of those concerts, next year around the world. Places like Berlin and London, LA, New York.
Wow.
I'm sure
That's
I'm missing
unbelievable.
Miami.
Miami, Berlin,
And
London.
and Goa, India. So we're going to start to branch into India.
You really should consider coming out.
Yeah,
to
I mean, that
India.
would be
It's in
a dream.
January.
Okay.
We should.
Okay.
We
So
should go
it's-
together.
it's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dance music, but
Ah.
like the tits,
Yes.
the best.
Hmm.
You're the king curator to me. So whatever you think
thanks.
is cool, I will think is cool.
Oh, no,
Yes.
I know you'll love it.
Yeah, that's
You'll love it.
awesome. Also, Hez runs in a band.
Oh.
Glossy.
Yeah.
Yes,
I saw the footage at the Animal House in Seattle, and it brought me so much joy. So I can only imagine how it's making you feel.
Barry
Tell me
was
about it.
this proud dad. There's actually a clip, I don't know if you can see it, but he's left-handed, so he's just playing, and Dad's just leaning over the balcony with his camera.
Oh
and
my God.
I think what Perry's very proud about is that Hezron didn't take, I don't want to say the easy way out, but he's taking the road less traveled. So he's doing these DIY shows, finding these non-venues and building them and promoting them. Sort of what Perry did with Jane's at Scream. Mm-hmm. So naturally, even though Hezron for a long time didn't want to be a musician, he didn't want anything to do with music, he naturally went the same road that Perry forged. So you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
fill that in.
Yeah.
So Etty's pretty much spot on. At first, he would say, "I don't want to have anything to do with music,
or you,
you."
Yeah.
In fact, even if we would go to Lollapalooza, and I would go like, "All right, let's go see, Paul McCartney." He goes, "Do I have to go everywhere you go?"
Oh yeah.
It really broke my heart for a couple of years there.
Yeah.
Then I saw and this is all because of COVID. COVID hit. They didn't have anything to do. Then he started hanging out with these musicians. They'd come into his house and they were telling him, "Hez, you pick up the bass," because the cat was already a drummer, and he started running with that wild crowd, that downtown art punks, DIY crew.
Totally.
He makes their posters, which are digital now, right? So crazy, but he kind of, it's
but he doesn't want my help. Even I listened to his tracks. I'm like, "What are you going to do with that track?" And he goes, "I'm hanging on to that track." I go, "Well, what if I want to record?" He goes, "No, I think I'm going to hang on to this track myself." But honestly, his grooves are pretty fierce. Like he was on a track yesterday. So we have this, a garage setup in the garage. I heard him playing it. It was pretty damn good, But we were just in a fight. What were we fighting over?
Oh, nothing important.
Oh, I know what it was.
Nothing important.
I won't mention it.
Take the cue. Take the cue.
No. I won't say exactly what it was. We were in a fight because I was trying to tell him, "Don't hang out with this guy because he's going to take you down." It's like a musician guy. But
producer, hustler. He just basically takes advantage of young kids with talent.
Okay.
Yeah.
And interjects himself in the middle.
Got
it. You know what I mean?
So, and I'm saying, look, man, your dad's a producer. Let me do it. And he's like, "No." So he actually doesn't want my help.
Right.
So you guys were fighting. And
we're fighting about
he said,
that.
"Mom, you want to hear this, this song that I'm writing?" And he went downstairs and it was really good. A little bit of corporate, progression, and we talked about it. And he looked at me and he goes, "You know what it really needs?" He goes, "I feel like I need just some drums behind it." And he looked at me and I looked at him. Because I don't play the drums, and we just looked at each other. And then the next thing I know, he jetted upstairs, and I thought, he probably is, going to grab his phone or something. And then I heard drumming. So even though they were fighting, he asked if Perry would go and play the drums, and I peeked in. And Perry's like,
"Oh, that's really sweet."
Yeah.
So happy.
So he's getting there on his own, but I can tell you, very reminiscent when I came up. In that, his band, there's a couple of kids that runaways.
Yeah.
They're squatting at their friends' houses all the way up to Oregon and back. They drive themselves
in this SUV, this mid-sized SUV with gear and 4 people, and just staying at friends along the way. And I think that's wonderful because he could have rented a bigger van.
Right. He could have got a hotel because we gave him a credit card in case of emergency.
He wouldn't.
That speaks volumes about his character.
I think so too.
So that's why I'm like, "Man, I love you."
And
that's cool.
And you understand, with LA, there's certain neighborhoods that we live in. We're in a bubble. So for him to not be
he wants
to break out of it and do things himself.
Exactly.
And be more independent and more DIY and more raw.
Right. Which
that's
is
awesome.
It's good. It's good. Yeah.
That is the only way. I mean, if he was any other way, I would not like him.
Right.
Honestly, I wouldn't like him. If he came to me and was trying to use my connections and all that, I would
even
feel
worse, go to venues I pay to play just to get.
Yeah, just take that route. He knows the best route. The best route is the long. It's the longer route, but it's the route that will give you your character that you need, because you're going to get up there. People are going to listen to you. They're going to know your heart. They're going to know your experiences and like that. And if they sense that you're, you don't respect it, or you don't really like it, you know what I mean? Like if they think that, you're a fraud, they're not gonna gravitate towards you. So you have to go out there and hit the streets, man.
And
you have to.
People, that's what people want from you.
And
they want those
people
stories.
are attracted to authenticity.
Yeah.
And it's also nice because as music, is moving towards more of the polished, slick pop world.
Yes.
It's nice to see that when you go into his last gig, the Animal House in Seattle, which is really well run by this 23-year-old girl.
So great. I love hearing that.
But you see
That's
kids
cool.
getting in there, like in the mosh pit. They're just...
There are people. That's our people. That's our people.
And they're still there.
I love that.
They're still around. It's good to see.
And they'll always be there. It's the underground. It's the alternative. You know what I mean?
So
that's our people.
And it was called the punk prom. It's really all the kids that we're not going to prom.
Oh, you should have seen the chicks She had like a buzz cut, like those girls that have like bangs, but then their hair
like shaved on the side.
Shaved on the side with almost looks like payas.
It's cool.
Running down in a prom dress.
Yeah, it's fierce.
Like a fucked up prom dress.
I love it.
Some kid who's like pink.
Yeah.
He's wearing pink hair.
Ripped fishnets, Doc Martens.
So much expression, so much character.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's so good. It was so good. So
and then, you know what? They're so sweet. Just like the original scene.
Yeah.
Like people don't understand that, you see pictures of punks and a lot of people think, oh, that's just so like militant and macho. But honestly, the gay scene, fashion scene, the art scene, all really began together. Punk scene, they're really artists and disenfranchised, gay, straight, but accepting.
Just on
it's even on another height, on another level now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It gives me so much hope.
And
it fills me with hope.
I love
it's wonderful because they're
so
really
great.
outcast, but they have just this inclusivity.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but they really embrace.
It's a community.
Yes, but they embrace everyone. You get this random nerdy guy. He's accepted. There's nobody giving anybody attitude.
Right.
There were no cliques. You don't fit in. They're friendly to everyone, and they're kind to everyone.
I love that.
It was
so
a good place
even
to
old
be.
people.
Yeah. Even us.
Yes, even us. They're like, okay, the parents are here.
Your kids are being raised just around, music and shows and the culture. I'd love to learn more about your upbringing.
Okay.
And tell me about Perry, what was the music you were listening to growing up? Who was it that changed you and made you want to do music?
Well, myself, I was very fortunate. It started out with misfortune. My brother was 10 years older than me. My big sister, 8 years older than me. And the misfortune comes because my mother was trying to save her marriage. Mm-hmm. So she tried to have another child with, it's me. And by then, my dad, was like, what the fuck? Did not want me, you know? But
well, you don't know that.
I know that.
Okay.
Aww.
But he didn't.
He didn't what?
Well, he didn't give you up. He would
almost did.
No, but he at the end stepped in and said, "No, I want."
Yeah, that's because I was cute. If I'd have been any less cute,
look at
I'm
this
sure.
Look at
He's like a cuter
I was
version of his
entertaining
dad.
everybody. Like, don't sell me away.
Yeah,
I can sing, I can dance. I'm serious. That's what I would do. I'd entertain everybody. But because of that, I flipped the misfortune, and I would listen to my brother loved music. This is New York City. I'm talking about like Queens and New York. So my brother was already hanging out with groups in Greenwich Village, and I got the benefits of that. All the 45s, the stacks of 45s would be on my porch, and we'd be playing music. My family was very musical, but that was during the British invasion. So my influence immediately. Imagine I was immediately influenced by the Beatles.
Yes.
And I had my sister who loved, I don't know who she loved. I think maybe, I don't know who, but the girls all had their favorite pet. I'm doing the monkey right now.
Yes, the monkey.
So I would do all the dances that they could do, and they go, Pat, do the monkey, do the jerk. And I would do it for everybody. And then I got to hang out with the older kids. So that's where my influence come from. But I'm interested now, your influences.
Yes.
Because you're coming from a very far place.
I was born and raised in British Hong Kong, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have a different musical landscape. And when I was growing up, it was you know how we have K-pop now, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And before that, there was Japanese pop.
Yeah.
So before then, the 80s, when I was growing up, it was the golden age of Cantonese pop. And it was all through Asia. So I came from more pop lyrical background because, the Asian language or the Chinese language, there's so many word plays.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm more into the words and whatnot. At the same time, I was also classically trained as a ballerina. So I get a lot of classical music influence, which I still love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once I moved to Seattle, it was then in my teenage years, it was when what they call the Puget Sound was coming up. So you get the Nirvana, Soundgarden, Skinny Puppy, Mudhoney, and all that stuff, right? And I remember when I was
That's amazing that you were there during the rise of all of that.
Yeah, so this is amazing. I remember I was a senior in high school. We lived in Bellevue, which is a suburb of Seattle. Yes?
Yes.
And so a girlfriend of mine said, hey, after school today, we are going to go watch a band rehearse in Seattle. Alice in Chains.
I was hoping. That's incredible.
And I said, I don't want to drive out all the way to Seattle, right? And she goes, you don't understand. This band is so good. They're going to blow up and you're going to regret not seeing them when they started. I still didn't go. But thankfully, we ended up touring with them. So I did get my
came full circle.
I did get my Alice fix. So I feel like for me, music. And then when I went further into dancing, in the late 90s, we were very heavy in lyrical. So it's just a lot of emotions and emoting.
Yes.
So really my musical choice is really all of the fucking map.
I love that.
But you love Madonna.
Love. Who doesn't, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she really was.
Growing up with Madonna, it's hard to explain to people, like the impact and influence unless you live through it.
Unless you live through it, because she was
She was unprecedented.
And a strong female figure that crossed all boundaries.
Yes.
And she, did things her own way. And she was never.
And loved the dancers.
Love the dancers.
And inclusive.
And very inclusive.
Yes.
Yeah. But you are right, unless you lived through it, because she's so different now.
Right.
I've always said, you're the fucking queen.
She changed the game.
You don't need to step back to try to be like all the little girls should be catching up to you.
Yeah.
You need to keep
if you go
breaking boundaries, let them catch up to you.
They'll never catch her.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Perry, I'd love to hear a little bit more about the 80s with you, because if you talk to any artist, Tom Morello's very vocal friend, what Jane's Addiction did for the scene and the culture, it really helped engineer the alternative movement in the 80s, and served as a huge contrast to the hair bands on the Sunset Strip.
Which I love too.
Right. So tell me a little bit what that was like coming up at that time, knowing that you're doing something different, and who was inspiring you at the time? Like, who were your muses? Because it was also so style focused and performance art focused. It was very unique.
Well, you have to understand that, try to imagine that you don't know what you're doing, and you don't have even an inkling that you're going to be successful. Because I was kind of a street urchin. And I just got into, I kind of backed my way into music. I didn't start singing until I was 21.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I only knew that I can look like a singer. Like, so I began to do impersonations of people at this private nightclub in Orange County because they wanted me to be a model. I was really just delivering liquor. And then the ladies, I was watching one of these screens, waiting for the lady to sign off on the liquor delivery. And she said, "Are you a model?" And so, I had nothing. Again, I had nothing better than the truck filled with liquor, but there was a door open immediately in my mind. I'm like, oh, yes, I am a model. And I can do singing, I can act, I can do impersonations,
He's really good at impersonations, by the way.
Trying to avoid being a model because I knew that's not going to really go anywhere, right? So I started to impersonate Bowie and Jagger and Frank Sinatra. So I knew that I could do it. And plus I knew I could sing because my brother and sister had those 45s on the porch where we all were singing, and I was dancing in the makeout parties down in the basement back in Queens. But as a young boy, I didn't train for it. My parents certainly didn't encourage it. But once I got to LA and I got in with the punk rock kids, I was basically waiting tables and bussing tables. And so what was I dancing to and singing in those days, the early days? So what I would do, Allison, is I would go through the LA Weekly, because back in those days, the LA Weekly in the back would have like wanted, singer, must like psychedelic furs and The Cure. So I would study up on that. And I kept on loving music. That was the most important factor, is I just loved music. And when I got to LA and I started following with the punk kids, I was introduced to, not that I didn't know who Iggy Pop was, but not as in depth. I knew who Bowie was, but I started to get more in depth as I got more mature. So I graduated high school, I think in 74, and came out to LA, got to LA by 77, 78. I was on the West Coast, but I came here as a surfer.
Right.
So again, not to be a musician, but I could draw very well. I could also do lost wax casting, which was jewelry.
Because your dad was
a jeweler.
Because my dad was a craftsman, as was my mom. So my whole family were all artists. My brother was a craftsman. He took over the family trade, but he turned that into making custom parts for Harley Davidsons. He was an outlaw biker. Originally in LA, in Queens, he was a greaser.
Wow.
It goes that far back.
That's unbelievable.
And I heard that when he moved out to LA, he was Jimi Hendrix's roommate for a bit.
Not in LA. In Greenwich Village.
Oh, really?
Wow.
That's really cool.
Yeah, my brother knew all the great musicians in the day. He made jewelry for, Elton John and John Lennon, Keith Richards, Alice Cooper. Like, he can probably tell you more. He was known as the king of the cock rings. Because that was, he took my dad's trade, and he still worked with my dad on West 47th Street, except he was a freak. So he would make cock rings. That was his forte.
Wow, who knew? That's interesting.
Yeah, no, he's super interesting guy too. So but he was my hero.
Oh, so he was your hero.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
His name's Farrell. That's his first name. So the punk rock name became Peripheral, Perry Farrell. Because Perry Bernstein ain't punk rock at all. And then I found out that's not even my last name anyways. My real last name is Berenstecher.
Wow.
Yeah. And I looked that name up and it said handsome entertainer. I'm not kidding. If you text it, look it up.
Looking that up. But I'm so interested to know, like, you came to LA as a surfer, you started to look through the LA Weekly. How did that bring you to the point of you and your band?
I started to audition for groups, and the one guy, this guy Rich Evac, he was starting the group Psycom. Him and his wife Mariska, they liked me enough to they couldn't sing, So I brought that side of my family, that we were always entertaining each other, always singing and dancing. But that didn't last all that long, because then Rich ended up to hate me.
Band dynamics.
That was my first.
That was your first experience
with it.
What about Jane's and just sort of coming together? At what point did you realize that you were doing something really special and helping to drive culture?
Well, again, in my mind, I grew up with rock and roll from a baby. So I was starting to understand that, man, you could do something really important. The first thing that you need to know is where you come from. In other words, I knew about rock and roll. So when I started putting things together, and especially when Steve and Dave showed up, then I felt like what I'm hearing can compare. So I then I was resolute. I am going to do this, and I am settling for nothing less than the greatness of the Doors, Jimi Hendrix, and Zeppelin, all the groups the Who. I felt like, if you're going to do this, which I'm definitely doing this, I'm settling for nothing shy of that. And even if it took me till 64, it doesn't matter. The fact is that, I told this to my son last night, I go, because he goes back and forth. He's like, I can't do this anymore, Dad. I know you want me to be a musician. I just can't do this anymore. I'm going to say to him, look, man, you don't think I go through shit with my bands?
You're still going.
I'm still going through it.
Yeah. Every band does.
I'm telling you, 10 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I said to him, if you can leave behind a song on this earth that people will just, they'll love that song, you will feel accomplished like you would not even understand the feeling of that accomplishment. So I told him, you're not quitting. It's okay to complete something, but quitting is not acceptable.
I love that.
So I got him going. I got him going for another day.
All right, let's do our deep cuts. We'll just do a quick answer from both of you guys. Name a song, album, or artist that changed your life.
I have to think about that one. I don't know. There's so many.
Well, I was listening this morning to Fela Kuti.
Ooh.
And Fela's badass.
Badass.
So in our house, we around breakfast time, because when you're cooking, what else goes with cooking? Music, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this morning, somebody had already played that record when we got home.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably Isidore.
Broken English. It said Broken English. And I thought it was singing in broken English. But it wasn't. I put it on and all of a sudden,
it's so good.
They toured with us, right? In 2000.
Femi did. His son.
Yep.
So again, it's all music vocabulary, learning about how they made music, what was their charm to get people to just listen to that record and love it and need it.
Yeah.
And want it when you're cooking. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? Yeah. And so I'm going to say Fela Kuti this morning.
That's a good one.
I'm going to have to say Madonna. Because I really felt that, again, she just broke the glass ceiling over and over again. And she was the feminist that lived it without preaching it.
Yes.
I thought, she was
I'm
something
with
else
you.
in her day.
I'm with you. What is a song you wish you wrote?
Oh, I'm going to have to do it. John Lennon's, because we all shine on.
Wow, I
Like
love
the
hearing
moon
you sing.
and the sun
that's a good
and
one.
the stars.
Yes. Pretty much every John Lennon song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard because I'm not a songwriter, so I'm going to pass on that
Okay,
one.
that's fair. If you weren't a performer, what would you be?
A lawyer.
You'd be amazing.
I
You
wanted
would
to
be
be a
amazing.
lawyer. I wanted to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Thank
Me?
you.
Yeah.
I would be an artist. I'd be, a fine artist
Mm-hmm.
if I could.
Or a
yeah.
professional surfer.
No, I know that I couldn't. Those guys, they put so much time into the
That's
water,
next level.
and I get cold.
That's
not
how
gonna
I
work
know.
out.
It's not
But
gonna
you
work
know,
out.
but it's really good because now you have one son that's, going to music. Although Isidore is very musical, he's been waking himself up and going surfing by himself almost every day.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's good.
He was
Now
a
you
great
have
skater.
Yeah,
So
he's-
now he's
that
getting
Yeah.
makes sense.
like
yeah.
flying off of
So now you
walls
have a
in
s-
Ollieville.
So now you have a son that.
That's
Well,
so
you never know what
sweet.
Isidore is going to accomplish because he's still undecided. He's a bit younger.
Right.
But the fact that you have a son
Yeah, I
that
have a
you
son
can
to go surf
Oh,
with.
Yeah,
For sure.
that's
got
really
one, yeah.
special. That's awesome.
You just wait.
I know.
Yes,
I'm
You're gonna have the
yes.
best time. Something to look forward to.
The good news is that Cole already loves David Bowie, so I'm doing good parenting.
Nice.
Doing good
Yes.
parenting. What's something fans would be surprised to learn about you?
Okay, do mine. I'll do yours.
I've always said, I can't quite remember the wording, but I think it's really Perry's character. I think, honestly, what you see is what you get. And I remember when we got married, at our 10th wedding anniversary, I said that, I can't remember the wording, but something to the effect of, in his success, he never lost his humility. And at his lowest, he never lost his integrity.
I don't know if I can beat that.
Wow,
That's so
that's a
good.
mic drop response.
All right, how about this?
Yeah.
Etty didn't want children. She was fine not to have them, but now that she's got them, she is I would call her a tiger mother, in that
I don't push them as
No,
love them.
but you just love them. You love fiercely like
I'm
a tiger.
more hands-on as a mother than people think I would be. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
Love that. If you could meet any celebrity, dead or alive, who would it be?
I would want to hang out with either Elvis or Johnny Cash.
Oh, okay. I know this may ruffle some feathers. Hillary Clinton. I really appreciated that. I remember watching a
Fantastic
documentary.
choice.
She was very, very well educated.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
she was very, very focused. I know that her husband was one that rose to the top and, got the presidency and the accolades.
Yeah.
But I think if there's a woman behind a successful man, it was
It's
Hillary.
Hillary.
Yes. What are words you live by?
Kindness. Truth.
Kindness,
Mhm.
truth. Oh, I got a good one for you. Fairness. She's always going, it's not fair. It's not fair.
That I would never do that to that person.
I
Why
know,
would
I
do
feel
it?
that way
fair.
too.
It's not fair. And my response is,
Life was not meant to be fair.
well, it doesn't, it's seemingly unfair, but it's absolutely fair. But you cannot comprehend or understand the wisdom of the universe.
Mhm.
But it is balanced and it's coming. As an example, just
Yeah, I'm a big fairness
people-
person. It's not
people
right.
getting, punished or not. That might not happen in this world.
Mm.
And you know what I mean?
Okay.
And
Right.
and the universe might be waiting for maybe that person can redeem themselves. You never know. You
Right.
just don't understand the intelligence.
It's an energy bigger than we are.
Yeah, by far.
Right.
What are words that you live by?
Words that I would live by is that know three things. Understand where you came from,
Okay.
understand where you're going, and understand who you will stand in judgment in front of one day and have to hold
Ooh,
accounting.
that's good. That's
I
a
like
good
We
one.
have to hold
That's
accounting.
That's a good one.
Last
Yeah.
but not least, what is your favorite thing about the other one?
Go ahead.
You, me?
I'm thinking.
Well, I will just say right off the bat, I can get gross, but I will stay away from that. skin. You have beautiful skin.
That's the best thing you like about me is my skin.
No, I said I'm going to stay away from being gross.
Yeah.
But if I were to be refined, I would say your skin's so beautiful.
It's still skin. I always say your heart.
Oh.
You really, truly have a good heart. I don't see, when people are unkind and they treat you unfairly, they pick on you, they bully you, you don't ever think of vengeance or getting them back. You just want everyone to get along.
Because I know the universe is going to do
Exactly.
They're going to get there.
The universe is going to get there. Totally. You both have beautiful hearts, which is why I love the two of you, and I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Always a gift to be here. The universe is going to get better. Perry and Etty are one of my favorite couples, and I'm always so wowed by their love and support for one another, how beautifully they interact and communicate with each other, and just how kind and generous they are to those around them, a true inspiration for me on many levels. It is now time for my sound advice, new music you need to know on the Allison Hagendorf Show playlist. Introducing the band Return to Dust. You know how much I love supporting independent bands. They just put out their debut EP today and proudly wear their influences like Alice in Chains, Deftones, Gojira, and Queens of the Stone Age on their sleeves. This song is about shaking off the baggage of where you come from and accepting new ways of living. Check out the latest from Return to Dust called Losing Faith. Next is the latest from Detroit music collective, The Armed. I love these guys. For years, this band has been anonymous with a revolving door of different members, but frontman Tony Wolski is finally shedding some light on the band as they release their new album, Perfect Saviors, out August 25th. They are touring with Queens of the Stone Age and Phantogram, and Iggy Pop has a killer cameo in the video for their song Sport of Form, which I love, but I'm also loving the latest from The Armed called Everything's Glitter. Also on my sound advice is UK band Saint Agnes. They recently put out their album Bloodsuckers, and frontwoman Kitty Austin told me it was the legendary producer Sean Bevan, who has worked with Nine Inch Nails, Guns N' Roses, Slayer, who helped them to get a start on this album and advised not to worry about fancy mics or perfection and to just go for it as they would on stage. They took that great advice, and you can really hear that genuine raw energy and angst in this song. Check out Saint Agnes's Follow You. That's my sound advice this week. Search for the Allison Hagendorf Show playlist wherever you listen to music. Thank you so much, as always, for being part of the Allison Hagendorf Show. New episodes drop every Friday, so make sure you follow and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. You can find the show wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also watch the show on Instagram and YouTube. I would love to hear from you. So please like, comment, rate, review, whatever you are feeling, and reach out to me on socials at Allie Hagendorf. I'd love to connect with you. Let me know who I should interview next and what new music I should feature on my sound advice. Thanks again. I'll see you next week. And remember, you're a rock star.